that you see lesbian. They don't see community the way that you see community. So why are we trying to fit them in a box if they saying they don't want to be in the box? That's literally what gender criticals try to do to us. Well, why are you not in the box that I'm telling you to be in? What?
Like, you know, like, why would you ever try to debate somebody's identity with them? Like, that's just my thing. Is like, I can't debate with you about your identity. Your identity is not a Phil Bro matter. Like, if you identify as a lesbian, that's between you and the other lesbians. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, there's nobody that can like, it's not debatable. Like, my identity is not debatable. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And you can put all the facts and figures and charts and graphs and shit that you want to, but you can't tell me what my identity is.
Right. Exactly. I also brought this topic up because I just found out about it yesterday. I didn't even know this was a thing until I came across it, and I was just like, what is this? But I also wanted to talk about it as a trans man because there is this perspective of like people, like lesbianism and the trans man community are kind of they're interlocked, and you can't pry those apart. And I think also what you're not allowing is for those two people also to find out what their own gender identities are. Because I dated like my last partner was a lesbian, and she had never dated a man at all, trans man or cis man, and she dated me, right? And there was something to that we both had to like discuss within each other, also discuss how the world saw us, because she was very much like, I don't want men to look at me. I've been like, men just, also because she's like female, femme presenting, has, bigger breasts and things like that. She's like, I don't want the eye of men, like whatever. And she's very much even changed the way that she dressed to literally release that gaze on her, right? So then to present, like, for me to show up in her life and be like, oh, okay, I understand that, but also that doesn't diminish who you are and what your gender identity is or what you want it to be in the future, right? But it also was like, we had to stick with the reality that like when we were out, people really saw us as a straight couple. So there was a lot of nuance at play. So this conversation, again, like everybody said, requires a lot of fucking nuance. A lot.
Because trans men are nuanced men. To our cis counterparts, we come with nuance. Just like a trans woman to her cis counterparts comes with nuance. And if you do not have the capacity to hold that nuance within the space, then the conversation is not for you, love. I am a man, but I am a man with nuance because for some of us, come with a lived experience of said womanhood, whatever that may look like. And what I decide to do with that is what I decide to do. Me, I don't decide to do anything with it, right? But how others honor that is how they honor it. And what the fuck is the problem with that? I can't dictate shit over your life. I'm literally fighting people online to say, no, I belong. And then I'm saying to somebody else, you don't belong. That's how crazy we sound right now. Everybody belongs.
And if a trans, like, it's like you trying to, we so busy trying to Phil Bro each other's identities, that we're not giving people the space that they deserve to define who they are and to live as who they are. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy.
That's how I see like the gender fuck of it all. And if anything, that's exactly what I want to dismantle. I wanted to dismantle.
And I really am at a point where I'm like, trans women should not be running this topic. Like, this is not a topic that trans women need to run. Because what I witnessed yesterday is that trans women cannot run this topic in a way that honors the voices of trans men. And particularly trans women who aren't black. Like, if you run this topic, you need to do it in a way that is going to honor the voices of black trans men and not silence the voices of black trans men. That was, like, Amari disagrees with most of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And he has a right to speak. Sammy had the same attitude as Amari yesterday. He has a right to speak on this. This is a conversation that should center the voices of trans men, particularly Black trans men. Why would trans women and cis women run this conversation and silence the voices of trans men? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I'm still now pissed about the conversation yesterday. I need to just shut up because I'm getting like hyper focused.
And one thing I will never do is trans women or trans men to be silenced in my platform, and certainly fucking not if you're Black. Like,
and I just want to call out,
like I just won't allow it.
I fuck with Atlanta because I do like going into her lives and learning, because she do be saying some like good like tidbits.
With Atlanta the hard way, don't get it twisted.
But when she made the comment of "you guys suck at debating," and I clarified, I'm like, girl, nobody came up here to debate. I didn't come up here to debate. You literally, I came in, I said, wow, this is a hot topic. You sent me the invite, and I'm thinking we gonna have a conversation. And then when I realized fucking Metal was on the panel, I'm like, okay, this is kind of shifting the conversation, the tone of it, right? So I never came up to debate the topic. I thought we was gonna have like a understand or get to understand how we got to this conversation, this topic. It wasn't like, well, let's go open a fucking dictionary and see what matches what matches what.
Can I just say something if I may, really quickly? Because that sounds like some like YT people shit. Of pulling up this, like, so this is why I'm very frustrated for you right now, because but I don't want to censor myself. That's crazy work. And YT people shit. And y'all don't need to be holding debate spaces. Especially on topics that don't censor you. And also, but would you even have gone to would y'all have even gone to a trans man live who had that topic? Would you have gone to Blanco's live if he had that topic, or Vaughn's, or
you talking to us on the panel or generally?
In general, at this point, actually. But I'm saying I'm addressing something in particular that it's kind of like you just wanted to have a hot button topic rather than actually care about what trans men actually had to say about the topic. Because, like, really ask yourself, would you have even joined a trans man's live who had that topic?
Bear, Blanco and I, why. Sorry, Bear, Blanco and I actually did that same day, I think. I mean, Blanco, was it earlier that day?
Before. Yeah, it was the day before.
It was a trans man having this topic, right? And like this
Mars, were you also on Thorne's live as well?
I did. Yeah, I was.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
go.
Yeah.
Like this is like, I have to do a little bit more background and research into this to do a better job of explaining it. I did a bad job during that live with Atlantic in a lot of ways. But what I was trying to convey, and which is, trans men, just like you said, Dev, have been a part of the lesbian community and lesbian spaces for so long, and that there are trans men who date within that community for whatever reason. Some of them, date within that community because they don't think that cis hetero women would be attracted to them, and right, there is some of that in that conversation to have. But I don't feel great about like trying to identify someone else's identity for them. Right. Especially if they're in those spaces. Right. It's nuanced, it's complex, even within the lesbian spaces and community as itself. There are events that include trans men. There are events that don't include trans men. There are groups within that community that include trans men, like I'm going to call it Bikes on Bikes, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep,
totally.
Yeah, okay. So, like, those organizations have been doing it at least in Sydney, Australia, since 1995, but since like the 2020s or a little bit earlier for the U.S. chapters, overwhelmingly supporting those trans individuals. Right, and when we talk about Les Volley, that event is for both women and female.
Even fucking Michigan Women's Music Festival, which is turfy as fuck.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. Absolutely. The question was more towards people who are not trans, people who shouldn't have been a part of that conversation, or let alone facilitate the conversation, because they're not either a trans man or a lesbian. Um, Facilitate those conversations, but not show up in the very same spaces that people like of said trans men and said lesbians who are having and running the conversations, right? That are not in a stance of debating, but actual genuine understanding. Because there's a difference.
Yep.
There's already a power imbalance with the majority of these lives when you say the claim, because you're debating the person who facilitated the space. So this is why, and also on someone's identity. So when you have people who are coming into the space who are of the topic, like trans men, lesbians, or trans mass lesbians, who do want to speak to their own experience, it's already shut down, because the entire point of the live is for the debater, the person who created the space, who is not a part of either of those identities or the overlapping of identity, just like it, to engage with that. Like there's already a power imbalance there. So it's actually kind of fucked. It's pretty twisted, and it also shows me that there wasn't really much intention from the first place, and that's actually more dangerous than someone who's coming up here with a malice intent. That's a problem. So it's more so of just like, Blanco, you shouldn't have gotten silenced. I wouldn't silence Amari, even if both of us have differing opinions. There's an understanding that at the base of it, regardless, whoever wants to, okay. And also, it's not going to specifically impact me, or if it does, can we talk about how it may impact me, right? If someone were to identify as this, and we can also talk that through. But in terms of anything else, it's just a little bit of rah rah.
Yeah, the debate. I don't think the debate style tactic yesterday from Meta was needed. Because Mars and I, like she said, we was on a previous panel the day before, and I'm not gonna say that I changed some people's minds, but I definitely gave different perspective. Where like 2 or 3 people at the end of it was like, okay, I can get what you're saying, and they were of trans men experience or lesbians. They could see the overlap. They could see the correlation where they could step back and be like, that's not my jam, but I could see exactly what you're talking about, because they have some type of experience connected to it. Right.
To pinpoint it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like we can have these conversations, but it has to be genuine conversations, a place of like actual dialogue, rather than somebody being like, well, that's not a source. That's not what the dictionary says. Well, read to me what the fucking dictionary says. And then when I'm bringing up to you, I'm like, well, hold on. Well, I can try to speak. I don't want to hear from you right now. No, you're speaking from somebody else's experience. I'm like, well, I'm speaking from an experience knowing that these people exist within my community. Mm-hmm. Well, you're speaking from their experience. So I really don't want to hear from you right now. What?
So who do you want to hear
what the
from?
fuck am I up here for then?
A cis woman, mind you, a heterosexual cis woman, telling you that you're speaking from somebody else's experience went the fuck crazy.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Mars, for coming up there and trying to explain it. Auntie Wata, I really do. And Amari, it's all love. Like even with Sammy, I still love him. That's still my brother, right? Him and I can go back and forth on, nah, bro, I don't think so. It's just harm, all this. And at the end of the day, I can still say, yeah, I love you. You're my bro, because we have different perspectives on things.
Right. I think sometimes what bothers me about Not sometimes, all the time. What bothers me about the debates and why I don't like really to do debates is because like you're trying to persuade something. I'm not trying to persuade
Mhm.
anyone in this decision or any of the topics I ever like. It's more of a discussion. I want to hear other people's opinions. So if we're so focused on like proving someone wrong or persuading someone to like think in another way, then we're kind of losing sight of the discussion itself, and it just like goes crazy. It just goes
Yeah, I
wild.
agree. I don't care to debate. I like now if it's conversation and we're all talking to
Right.
understand one another's perspectives. Yeah, I'm down for that, and I can definitely agree and disagree and stuff, and still adore you guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I see you no less, Amari, if you say, I don't agree with you, Blanco, and your perspective. And I would hope you would see me no less.
I see you no less.
Right. Because at the end of the day, I still
Me.
see you as my nigga. I still see Sammy as my nigga. Regardless of how you want to identify, I'm still see you as that dude. It literally
Right.
shakes nothing from me.
Now, there's certainly some topics where it's not negotiable. There is a right and a wrong, but in topics like this, like I don't think that's not a one.
Absolutely.
I'm not bending over backwards to like unalive on that hill. Like it's not that big of a deal. It really
No,
isn't.
when we start to get to
Agreed.
policing people, that's
Yeah.
when there's accountability, right?
Yeah.
And the harm that comes with that.
Part of the reason why I stay off of those types of lives too. Like I'm not going in there. It's just like a frame of mind and stuff. Like I'm not. It just gives me anxiety. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, and then
That's
talking,
life itself.
I think talking to GCs in general is just a waste of time. Like they're weird, disturbed people. They're always gonna forever be weird, disturbed people.
Mm-hmm.
But if I may, I even question the ones that center talking to GCs.
Yes, I agree with you. They're
Because
the ones that are
there's
friendly.
Same.
but
Same.
it's because it's interesting because it's like again, don't see you in the spaces that are amongst your community to even be able to speak for them on behalf of them when you are speaking to these
What
GCs.
happened?
So you're only talking from your experience and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like now we're only speaking. Oh, what happened to Blanco?
My bad. Where you go? I apologize.
Blanco. What
He
happened?
might be working or something. I think he dropped.
He
Oh,
said be
okay.
bad.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't really understand because none of this would have happened if the space wasn't had in the first place. Like I'm just kind of like love the the intricacies, but like this would not have happened if someone did not host the space in the first place. Like I'm skipping over to that. Why did you feel that you needed to have that space in the first place, knowing that you were not equipped to have the space? That's what I'm confused about. But if that's not the right direction, then okay. I'm glad that folks were able to talk this through. I'm also glad to have met Amari. How you doing?
How you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most trans men I've seen on a live.
Same. Especially when Blanco was up there. Have you guys read Stone Butch Blues?
I have.
No.
Years ago.
Okay.
Years
By
ago.
Leslie Feinberg.
Yes.
Book 2, right? Transgender Warriors.
Yes.
Now that's
I have
another
that
one. Like
too, yeah.
she's a trans identified lesbian. I'm sorry, did he have
Oh no, actually, he uses HIR. I think he's before he died. I think he's
There.
alive. Right?
Oh, his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He changed his pronouns, I think, before he unalived.
Yeah.
And
I love
so
Caesar.
like I actually met them like years ago in person at a conference. But I think Stone Butch Blues like helped me to understand a lot about gender. In like starting out as a young lass.
Yes, I agree.
I have a question.
Also, there was
go ahead.
there was a
There was an article called the Bull Gene, not an article, but a book called the Bull Gene Chronicles, I think it was.
Blue Jean Chronicles. Oh, I think I heard about that one too. Yeah.
So this was a black butch woman, and it's like a book, this selection of short stories about Bull Jean, this woman named Bull Jean. Bull Jean stories.
What did you want to ask, Bear?
Have y'all read Black on Both Sides? Or are you familiar with C. Riley Thornton's work?
What's it called? Black on Both Sides?
Black on Both Sides, the racial history of transness.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah, but
I'm going to put it on my Audible.
When I speak trans, I mean black. Yes, I think that would be a great book. If you want to dig a little deeper, Trans Necropolitics is also a popular one from him.
Oh, nice. It doesn't use a credit either. Amazing. I love it.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I just added it.
Get it.
Yeah.
Black on Both Sides. And then, let me see. The Butch Mystique. If anyone's in New York, please, and would like to see a room full of black trans men, at least 100. This weekend, I believe June 27th and June 28th, there are black trans men workshops